The Hollywood Dahlia, Episode 1 Beauty and the Beast. Based on the unsolved Black Dahlia murder case, 1947. The scream that shattered the morning silence of Leimert Park would haunt Detective Ray Morrison forever. January 15, 1947, another Tuesday in Los Angeles. But paradise was about to reveal its darker side. Betty Bersinger was walking her daughter when she saw what looked like a discarded mannequin in the vacant lot. The pale skin, the unnatural position, the way the body was bisected at the waist, too grotesque to be real. But as she moved closer, the horrible truth became undeniable. Ray arrived 20 minutes later, his partner Detective Danny Sullivan, already securing the scene. The crowd was growing, drawn by the morbid fascination that violent death always inspired in this city of broken dreams. What do we have, Danny? Jane Doe, early 20s, cut in half. No blood here, she was killed elsewhere and dumped. Danny's Irish accent thickened when disturbed. But that's not the worst part. Ray approached the body, taking in details that would fuel nightmares. The young woman had been beautiful, striking dark hair, delicate features, movie screen face. But someone had turned that beauty into a canvas for cruelty. Jesus Christ, Ray whispered. The killer had carved a smile from ear to ear, creating a grotesque parody of happiness. Someone with a serious grudge against beautiful women. Came a voice behind them. Dr. Sarah Chen, the city's newest medical examiner, approached with her bag. Dr. Chen, initial assessment? Sarah knelt beside the body. Precise cuts, surgical knowledge. The bisection was post-mortem, but the facial mutilation was personal. Someone who knew her, or what she represented. Time of death? 12 to 24 hours. But look at her hands. Sarah pointed to the victim's fingers, clean, manicured, no defensive wounds. She didn't fight back, either unconscious, or she trusted her killer. As the body was loaded away, Ray spotted a familiar face in the gathering crowd. Victoria Sterling stood across the street, platinum hair, catching sunlight, emerald eyes fixed on the covered gurney. She looked genuinely shaken. Their eyes met. Ray felt the old pull, the attraction that had drawn them together 2 years ago and nearly destroyed his marriage. Victoria raised her hand in a small wave, then disappeared. "You okay, partner?" Danny asked. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Just wondering what Victoria Sterling is doing here at 8 a.m. Back at the station, Ray studied crime scene photographs. The victim's face, despite mutilation, was hauntingly beautiful. Something familiar about her features. Detective Morrison, a young officer, approached. "Woman here about the body. Says she knows who it is." Ann Tote, a secretary at Columbia Pictures, sat nervously in interview room 2. "I saw the evening paper," Ann said, hands trembling. "The description. I think it's Elizabeth Short. We called her Betty. She was trying to break into pictures." "When did you last see her?" "A week ago. She was at the Cecil Hotel. Said she was meeting someone important who'd help her career. She was so excited, thought this was her big break." "Did she mention a name?" "No, but she said something strange. Said she'd found someone who saw past her face to the real person underneath. Someone who understood her pain." Ray called the Cecil Hotel. Elizabeth Short had been staying there but hadn't been seen for days. Her belongings remained cheap clothes and photographs. But buried among the headshots, Ray found something. Chilling, a photograph of Elizabeth with Victoria Sterling at some Hollywood party. On the back, "To Betty, may all your dreams come true. Love, V." Ray stared at the photograph, mind racing. Victoria's presence at the crime scene suddenly seemed less like coincidence. His phone rang. "Morrison. Detective. This is Dr. Chen. I've completed the preliminary examination. You need to see this." "What did you find?" "Evidence she was tortured for days before death. And she was pregnant about 8 weeks. Sexual assault? That's the strange part. Despite the torture, no evidence of recent sexual activity. As if the killer was preserving her purity somehow. This wasn't about rape, this was something else entirely." Ray sat in his darkening office, trying to make sense of contradictions. A knock interrupted his thoughts. Victoria Sterling stood in the doorway. "Hello, Ray. I heard about the poor girl. I thought you might want to talk to me." She moved into his office with fluid grace, closing the door. In the dim light, she looked like a film noir goddess. "Why would I want to talk to you, Victoria?" "Because I knew her. Elizabeth Short. Betty. She was special to me." Ray's hand moved toward the photograph in his drawer. "How special?" Victoria sat across from his desk. "Special enough that I'd do anything to find her killer, even if it meant reliving painful memories." "What are you talking about?" "Betty and I had something in common. We both knew what it was like to be used by men who promised the world and delivered only pain." Victoria moved to the window. "There's a type of man Hollywood attracts: powerful, wealthy, with exotic tastes. They collect beautiful women like trophies." "Are you saying Elizabeth was involved with someone like that?" "Betty and I were both involved with the same man. Someone who enjoys breaking beautiful things. Someone who promised to make us stars and turned us into victims." "Who?" Victoria headed for the door. "Someone you know, Ray. Someone we both trusted. Someone watching this investigation closely." She paused at the door. "That affair we had? It wasn't chance. He sent me to you, to keep tabs on investigations. I fell in love despite myself, which is why I disappeared. But now Betty's dead, and I can't run anymore." "Victoria, wait." But she was gone, leaving only perfume and the sound of heels clicking down the hallway. Ray sat alone, understanding he was no longer investigating just murder. He was uncovering a conspiracy reaching into Hollywood's highest levels. Outside, the city of angels spread out in all directions, lights twinkling like stars. Somewhere a killer was watching, waiting, planning his next move. Ray reached for his phone to call Danny, then stopped. Victoria's warning echoed: "Someone you know, someone we both trusted." If she was right, no one was safe. The Black Dahlia case was about to become personal, and somewhere in Hollywood's shadows, Elizabeth Short's killer was smiling, confident he'd covered his tracks too well. But he hadn't counted on a woman's love, a detective's obsession, and the dark secrets connecting them all in a deadly triangle of truth, lies, and murder. To be continued in Episode 2, Secrets in Celluloid. Authors note this story is inspired by the real Black Dahlia murder case of 1947, one of Los Angeles' most famous unsolved crimes. While based on actual events, the characters and relationships depicted are fictional interpretations created for dramatic purposes.